All right, so have you ever, like, held a metal pen
Hmm.
and kind of admired how they got that tip so smooth?
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost like, how'd they do that?
It's pretty cool when you think about it.
It's not magic, but it almost feels like it.
Right. Right. Definitely not match.
But there's this whole process behind it most of us never even think about, right?
Exactly. And it's called swaging.
Swaging. See, I bet you've heard that word.
I mean, maybe. Not something you use every day, though.
No, no, but it's the hidden force behind so many things we see, use, like, every day, you know?
Absolutely. It's everywhere, but we just don't realize it.
So you told me you're curious about skilled trades and how stuff gets made.
Yeah. Big interest of mine.
So that's why we're doing a deep dive today on, get this, the swaging machine operator.
Okay. Yeah, I can see why you'd pick that one.
RoleCatcher.com, they've got career guides, interview tips, the works, and we're going to see if this job, this swaging thing, is something worth looking into.
Especially these days, right? Got to know what's what in this economy.
Exactly. And I gotta say, just reading their stuff, even I'm more intrigued now.
What stood out to you?
Well, to start, like, what is swedging?
Yeah.
They explain it's basically using these, like, super strong molds, they call them dies.
Okay, like shaping the metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You apply pressure and it, like, forces the metal into that shape, especially for making round things smaller.
So instead of cutting away, you're squishing it down.
You got it. And RoleCatcher emphasizes you're not losing material, which is really efficient.
Makes sense. Yeah, like with that pen tip.
Right. No metal shavings all over. And speaking of the pen tip, that's what got me reading RoleCatcher's guide on the operators themselves.
Oh, interesting. So not just the process, but the people.
It's not like you're just standing there pushing a button all day. They make it clear this is a blend of, like, real technical skill, you got to be precise, and you're going to be problem solving too.
That's so key, right? Because we think, oh, factory job must be repetitive. Maybe robots will take over.
And that's where RoleCatcher surprised me. They're saying, as tech advances, we need more skilled operators to run those fancy machines.
It's like the more complex the tech, the more human brain power you need to wrangle it.
Totally. They even break down, starting out, moving up, you could end up supervising a whole team.
So there's a career path there, not just a job.
Right. I'm willing to bet most folks, they hear swaging machine operator, they got no clue what that even is.
It's like a hidden gem. Kind of changes your view on like what jobs are out there.
For sure, and it shows tech's changing things, but not always getting rid of human jobs.
In fact, it might be making those skills more important.
Okay, so we know it's not your average factory gig. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. What does a swaging machine operator actually do day to day? RoleCatcher had some surprisingly interesting stuff on that, way more engaging than I initially pictured.
I'm all ears. What did they say?
So, for one, the setup process, it's not as simple as, like, flipping a switch.
Oh, so there's more to it than just turning the machine on.
Way more. You need to actually understand how the machine works mechanically, and then you're adjusting it based on, like, what kind of metal you're using, what the final product's got to look like.
So each job is different then.
Yeah.
You can't just have one setting for everything.
And get this, they even said troubleshooting malfunctions is part of the gig.
Wait, so if the machine breaks, you got to fix it.
Well, not necessarily fix it, but you're the one problem solving, keeping things running. You don't just, like, call maintenance and twiddle your thumbs.
So you're not just learning one specific machine. You're learning how to think on your feet, how things work in general.
Exactly. And that, tying it back, that's valuable no matter what job you're doing, mechanical skills, problem solving under pressure.
Those are things employers everywhere are looking for, not just factories.
It's like this hidden perk of the job. You're gaining skills that could help you down the line, whatever you end up doing. Oh, and speaking of skills, something else from RoleCatcher really resonated with me, knowing you're all about the details.
Oh, what'd they say?
Quality control. They emphasize how vital that is in swaging. Like, each piece has to meet super specific requirements.
So it's not just about speed, but making sure it's right every time.
Absolutely. They talk about how important that precision is in this line of work.
Which, again, links back to those transferable skills, right?
Totally. Even if you don't become a lifer swaging machine guru.
Which, hey,
Yeah.
no judgment if you do, but yeah, go on.
Having that background in quality control, that attention to detail, that's valuable pretty much anywhere.
For sure. Who doesn't want an employee who cares about getting it right?
It's like they're saying, hey, even if you don't end up swaging forever, the stuff you learn here is useful,
Right. Like it's not a dead end. You gain skills that translate.
And speaking of translating skills, RoleCatcher, they actually have a whole section on that, like how to make those skills shine on your resume, whatever you want to do.
Oh, that's smart because a lot of folks, they don't know how to sell that experience.
Exactly. Okay, but let's get down to brass tacks here. Is this like a good career or what? Because RoleCatcher's pros and cons, they were interesting.
Yeah. What stuck out to you?
Well, on the plus side, big demand for skilled trades, right? Like swaging machine operators, they're needed, which equals good job security.
And that is huge these days. Like knowing your job's kind of future-proof.
Right. And not just that, but they were saying the earning potential is really solid, not just scraping by.
Yeah. You can actually make a good living, which, let's be real, matters to people.
Absolutely. Plus, don't forget, we talked about that career ladder. You're not stuck in one spot.
You can learn, move up, get more responsibility. Who doesn't want that?
Now, granted, no job's perfect, right?
Uh-huh.
RoleCatcher did mention it can be physically demanding. You're on your feet, moving around.
So not exactly a desk job, huh?
Not quite. But honestly, I think you'd see that as a plus. You like to be active.
True. True. I'd go stir crazy stuck at a desk all day.
And RoleCatcher pointed out the potential for overtime is there, which I know, long hours, but it can mean more cash.
It's a trade-off, for sure. Depends on what your priorities are.
Exactly. Finding that balance, right. And you being like, Mr. Prepared, gotta address those concerns.
Hit me with them.
Say you're nervous about interviewing for this kind of job. RoleCatcher's got a whole section, interview questions, tailored to swaging machine operators.
Oh, wow. So they don't just give you generic advice. It's specific to the role.
Yep. Like, here's what they'll ask, here's how to answer to really show off what you know.
That's huge. Takes the guesswork out of it.
Totally. And then there's, actually finding these jobs. RoleCatcher can help with that too. Their jobs feature, it's like a one-stop shop.
Explain that, because I know some folks, they dread job hunting. Endless scrolling.
It's like they gather postings from everywhere, analyze them based on your skills, even tell you how well your resume matches what they're looking for.
So it's like having a personal assistant, but for your job search.
Right. Saves you so much time and hassle.
Yeah.
Speaking of the guide, remember earlier when they mentioned tagging?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It seemed kind of like a side note.
It did, right. At first I thought, oh, just slapping a label on, no big deal.
But I had a feeling there was more to it than met the eye.
There totally is. Tagging, it's not just labeling. It can involve actually shaping or customizing the piece more.
Oh, wow. So it's like the final touch, that extra level of detail.
Right. And they were saying it can take real precision, even a bit of artistry in some cases.
So it's not just about being strong or knowing machines. You got to have a delicate touch too, huh?
Exactly.
Oh.
Who knew swaging could be so, nuanced?
It's like we're peeling back the layers of the onion here, finding all these hidden depths.
I gotta say, when we started this whole swaging thing, I never would have thought creative.
Right. It's like you think metal, machines, got to be all rough and tumble.
Exactly. But now I'm picturing someone, taking pride in those finishing touches,
It's that attention to detail. And RoleCatcher, they actually get into the different, specializations within swaging.
Oh, so it's not just one size fits all. There's, branches you can go down.
Exactly. So if you are into the precision and the creative side,
There might be a perfect niche for you. That's so cool.
see, that's what gets me about these deep dives. We could be talking about anything.
Right. Who knew we'd go from pen tips to, career paths all in, 20 minutes?
And it shows you no matter how techie the world gets, there's something about these skilled trades.
It's real, tangible, you make something people use.
Exactly. You're not just pushing pixels around.
Yeah.
You're shaping the physical world.
It makes you look at a pen or anything really and appreciate it on a whole other level.
For real. Makes you think, maybe we need to rethink what a good job even means these days.
Right. Because there's a lot to be said for hands-on skills, being in demand, all that.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, huge thanks to RoleCatcher for giving us so much to think about today.
They really delivered the goods for this deep dive.
And to you out there listening, thanks for joining us on this little journey into the world of swaging. Until next time.